camel that killed John Henry, but it won't kill me. But it won't kill me.
Hello.
But it won't.
So I wanted to put a spotlight on an artist that I've recently discovered, probably middle of last year sometime. I actually, Mississippi John Hurt. I saw a documentary about him on PBS, and I was just blown away by his music. I was blown away by the fact that his music went unheard for nearly 40 years. 40, that's 40, nearly 40 years, and he had a rebound career in the 60s. But I'll get to that in a second. So basically, Mississippi John Hurt, he was a country blues guitarist, singer. At one point, he was actually considered folk. I'll get to that story as well a little bit later. But he was considered folk music. His hometown was Avalon, Mississippi, and early in his career, the small, quick career he had in the late 20s, he actually recorded about four or five songs in New York in 1928 on the OK label. That's OKEH. His 78s are extremely hard to find. They're very rare. I'm always looking for them when I have a chance, but I've yet to find any. But anyway, so basically, he recorded 4 or 5 songs in New York, and but because of the Great Depression and the war efforts, the metal plates or masters that were used to press the 78s, they were all melted down. So his original pressings will never be heard. There actually is a museum. I can't quite remember where it was. It was on the documentary I watched. There's a museum dedicated to him, or at least part of a museum dedicated to his music, trying to preserve it, because they actually have some of those original masters. So anyway, the masters were melted down for the war efforts. They made bombs or whatever they needed the metal for, and so a lot of his stuff, like I said, is lost forever. So you fast forward 40 something years, because he didn't have much of a career. Fast forward almost 40 years, 1963, I think it was 1963. Tom Hoskins, he was a folk musicologist. Tom Hoskins had heard Mississippi John Hurt's music on a compilation album, and he wondered if he was still alive, if Hurt was still alive. So he went to Avalon, Mississippi. He followed the song. Is basically what from what I understand, from what I read, is he followed the song Avalon Blues. Went to Avalon, Mississippi to search out Hurt, and he was actually happy to see that he was actually still alive. So, long story short, not sure exactly what happened, but he asked him to come to the 1963 Newport Folk Festival, and he did. Now, his music was labeled as folk music because that's really what kids were listening to those days. So he did pretty well with that. So, and I do want to mention if you or anybody has any folk box sets, take a look at them. Actually, I'm going to show you, because a lot of his music is in or on some of these folk box sets. This one's, I think, 5 or 6 albums. This one's the worst of the two. This one's, I think, got 4 albums in it. It's called The American Folk Singers and Balladeers. Okay, unassuming box. The story with this box set is I bought a large collection that somebody was cleaning out their house, and he was just looking to get rid of some. So this was one of the ones I picked up. I didn't buy this knowing that his music was on here. I bought this completely just because I do enjoy some of the folk music. But I was looking at it and I wasn't, was kind of up in the air about keeping it or not. So I kind of put it in a box, and I was gonna get rid of it. And in the middle of learning about Mississippi John Hurt's music, and learning about where his music can be found, I was lucky enough that I hadn't gotten rid of it quite yet. So actually two of his songs, actually, this is really awesome. Two of his original songs that he did at the 1963 Newport Folk Festival is on this record. His first time coming, and when he was rediscovered, is on this record right here. Okay, probably can't see the lighting, but it says it's the Classic Record Library Book of the Month Club. Okay, and that's what it says around here. Oops, right here, and then down there. And it says the American Folk Singers and Balladeers, as the cover says, Newport Folk Festival, and this is the 1963 Folk Festival. And two of his songs on here.
Try me one more time.
I'll try to find where it is. C.C. Ryder and Stackle Lee. That was an unbelievable find. Just out of an unassuming box. Why keep the box? It's part of the set. But like I said, I wasn't originally going to keep this, and I was happy to find that some of from the folk festival is on this box set. Another box set, I actually had this in my collection. Not sure how much listening I did to it, but this is it was in my collection, and I took a second look at it. I'm glad I did, because I believe one of the songs, just one of the songs, was on here. And this is actually Radio Shack, 40 Great Folk Songs by Radio Shack. And the song he did was Nearer My God to Thee. That alone is worth keeping this box set. I'm glad I found that in my collection. So, and I have, this is, okay, yep. I just was looking at the record label. Sorry if I showed you my ass. So, the one we're listening to right now is on a Piedmont label. I believe this was the 1960s. I'm 99% sure this is from the 60s. Okay. This one, from the research I've done, this is the same exact album. It's the same exact album. A different label though, different pressing. It's the same. It's a black label. There we go. Okay, it's the same exact same album. It's I'm not sure if that's a K or a B. Take a look at it. You decide. Cryophone? Cryophone, is that a K? So anyway, I believe this one is from the 70s. It's your time now, baby. You might have to cry. And this is how I store them. That. It's your time now. There. 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 So, it's your time now, baby. So he ended up in his career. He ended up recording, I think it was 3 albums. And his short career, he died in 1966. Wonder if there's anything else I want to talk about with him. I'm just glad I found his music. It's just so easy to listen to. Can't be mine, somebody else's too. And you can't be mine. Hope everybody had a good time. Thanks. Peace.